How long before we start seeing China flags in social media bios, right? Along with a person's pronouns. That's where all of this is headed. China is now the new victim, replacing Ukraine. Within hours of President Trump kicking Zelensky out of the White House, Ukrainian flags were placed on every pole in the little business district of my little New York City suburban town to show support for Zelensky. And I guarantee you now those same liberals are standing up and defending China, a country that promotes slavery and abuse, the same country, don't forget, that unleashed the deadliest pandemic on the world, killing millions by making the COVID virus in a lab and then lying to us about it, claiming that a magical bat flew from a cave and came into a soup and somebody ate it. I mean, yet somehow China has now become the new victim the left is grasping onto. Just look at this ridiculous Reuters headline. Has Trump canceled Christmas? It should read, President Trump holds our adversary China accountable for ripping off the United States for decades. After President Trump dropped specific tariffs down to a universal 10% rate for all trade partners, he jacked up China's rate to 145. China now tit for tat, increasing its tariffs on U.S. imports to 125%. Why is anyone shocked by Trump and what he's doing towards China? He has been saying that he was going to put China in its place for years now. He said it 13 years ago as he campaigned for president.
And I said, somebody said, well, what would you do? What can you do? So easy. I drop a 25% tax on China. And you know, I said to somebody that it's really the messenger. The messenger is important. I could have one man say, we're going to tax you 25%. And I could say another, listen, we're going to tax you 25%.
Trump always telling it like it is. I mean, even Time magazine announcing that China will not win a trade war. The White House continues to focus on Main Street, not Wall Street. Trump continues to prioritize the average American over major corporations. Numerous financial experts saying what Trump is doing is long overdue.
I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, they steal it, they manufacture it and sell it back here. Never has an administration.
400% tariffs? What would that look like?
I want Xi on an airplane to Washington to level the playing field. This is not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough.
We've all had enough. And what Trump is doing, that's the art of the deal, folks, a tactic to get China's President Xi Jinping to the negotiating table. The White House knows that the American dream isn't the ability to buy cheap made in China baubles. Yet Democrats are enamored with China. They actually think that the Chinese Communist Party is our friend. You don't believe me? Look at this. I mean, are you surprised by Chuck Schumer there proudly waving the People's Republic of China flag in New York City? And that was just last year. This is ridiculous. You can support the Chinese people without waving the CCP flag, Schumer. You would never see a top Chinese official waving an American flag. Not here in the United States and certainly not in China ever, ever. Yet Schumer, he continues to criticize Trump's every move. But here's what Schumer said about Trump's tariffs during Trump's first term.
Look, I think the president's doing the right thing. China has been taking advantage of us for two decades. They're stealing our intellectual property, which means stealing our good-paying jobs. And I, frankly, am closer on this issue, not on many, but on this issue with President Trump than I was with Presidents Bush or Obama, because they did nothing to tell China off.
Did you hear that? He even criticized Barack Obama. That would never and could never happen now. China has been infiltrating every part of American life for decades now, even buying up hundreds of thousands of our lands. China owns more than 350,000 acres of farmland across 27 states. And it's not just farmland and land that China is buying, even near military bases. In his first term, Trump even successfully blocked China from purchasing a California fertility clinic. Now, you tell me why China wanted to buy a fertility clinic on the California coastline. Yet Americans, we're not even allowed to buy a foot of land in China. Chinese nationals are also flooding our college campuses. In the 2023-2024 academic year, about 280,000, almost 300,000 Chinese nationals were studying at universities here in the United States. And coincidentally, the CCP enacted a law requiring Chinese students abroad to participate in intelligence gathering. As a result, Florida Senator Ashley Moody has introduced a bill that would deny student visas to Chinese nationals.
I filed a bill yesterday to deny now student visas to Chinese students because China has just passed a law that now requires every national to gather intelligence, including Chinese students here studying, gather intelligence and report back. How do we not pass a law that prevents student visas in that respect? I mean, in the past few years, we've had an explosion of Chinese students that were caught gathering evidence or gathering information on military bases, on college campuses. How do we as lawmakers, policymakers not do that?
Did you hear that? Did you hear what she just said right there? That Chinese national students have been caught gathering information on us. And guys, it gets even worse. We saw China dominance and dependence on them clear as day during their pandemic when we couldn't even get masks or gloves. I mean, and did you know that between 2020 and 2022, U.S. imports of China pharmaceuticals grew by 485% from $2.1 billion to $10.3 billion under Joe Biden? That's because under Joe, China became richer while the United States continued to become poorer, and they became stronger. We became weaker. The House Oversight Committee revealing Joe Biden, he was bought and paid for by China. Under Joe Biden, the U.S. became even more and more reliant on China. Even, as you just heard, it comes to our medicine. The U.S.-China Commission finding that China owns the American generic drug supply chain. Basic thyroid or blood pressure medications might be put into pill form in a lab in, say, India, but the organic compounds, those key materials, come from China. Trump derangement syndrome. It may now be at an all-time high among the left. You see them wild and crazy. They don't even know what they're complaining about, but do not believe their hysteria, folks. Just take a look at CNN reporting on one recent survey.
All of a sudden, a tie? All of a sudden, the Democrats, who are the party of the people, no more. We get a tie on this question, on a question that has traditionally overwhelmingly been a Democratic advantage. Which party cares more for the needs of people like you? It's truly something I would not have expected to see, especially after this tariff war.
Well, you didn't expect to see it, CNN, because you're in your own blue city bubble, which Trump is about to pop. And by the way, it's not a trade war because we already know who the victor will be. President Trump's art of the deal in full effect. He's not starting a trade war, folks. He is ending it.